Hi, my name is Tim Bale and I am Professor of Politics at Queen Mary University of London and co-director of the Mile Institute at the university. Welcome to another in our series of videos on the coronavirus crisis. Today we're going to be hearing once again from my colleague at Queen Mary, Professor Sophie Harman, and she's talking to Dr. Simon Rushton from Sheffield University about the role that the UN Security Council might play in the crisis. And in particular, they're going to be looking at whether a resolution from the Security Council on the issue would be useful. If you enjoy the video, please do share it, tell others about it, and please come back for more.
Hello, I'm Sophie Harman. I'm a Professor of International Politics at Queen Mary University of London, where I specialise in global health politics. Today, I was wanting to talk about the United Nations, particularly the United Nations Security Council. Because in global health security, there's an idea that the gold standard of a health issue becoming one of international concern is when the United Nations Security Council passes a resolution. Now, with COVID-19, it seems that the Security Council has been quite quiet. So whilst the specialised agencies have been quite busy, we've heard less from the Security Council. So to answer this question and to talk about the Security Council today, I thought I would get along my friend, global health security expert, author of this excellent book, Simon Rushton, senior lecturer from the University of Sheffield, who has been doing work on global health security for years. It's his readings that I make all my students read because it's the go-to, as well as colleagues that have now discovered global health security. So hi Simon, welcome.
Hi, thanks Sophie, nice to be here.
So UN Security Council, where is it? What's it doing?
Great, okay, so this is a really good question. And I should say from the start, I think that I don't know an awful lot about the inner workings of the Security Council over the last few days, but I can tell you what we do know. What we do know is there have been a couple of efforts ongoing to try and get the Security Council to adopt a resolution about COVID-19. We know that there's a French draft floating around of a draft resolution which has been discussed, and that there's another draft which was prepared by some of the non-permanent members who are currently on the Security Council. So that much we know. And they've been under discussion, as I understand it, for the last couple of weeks. Last Thursday, they did meet, or they held a virtual meeting, at which the Secretary General made a statement pleading for them to pass a resolution, but nothing came out of that meeting. So where we are at the moment, we think, is that there are a couple of drafts upon which they can't get agreement, and they're currently not in a position to pass a resolution.
Okay, and so is this because of the P5?
I think at least some of it's because of the P5. I think there are probably a couple of things going on. We know that countries like China and Russia in particular have always been quite queasy about the Security Council dealing with health issues. It's something that they've always really not been convinced that this is any of the Security Council's business. So there's traditionally always been some resistance there, and as I understand it, that's there this time as well. I think there's another layer this time, which is that COVID-19 seems to have played into and amplified the kind of pre-existing disputes between the United States and China in particular. From what I've been reading, it sounds like some of the stumbling blocks are specifically around those disputes. The United States apparently wants language in any resolution referring to China as being the origin of this virus.
Wow.
China is clearly not happy about that. As anybody who knows anything about the Security Council will know, that the P5 all have to at least not veto a resolution. So at the moment, that seems to be a real cause of deadlock between the US and China.
Wow. And also we see this now playing out within the WHO as well, the World Health Organization.
Yeah, so overnight we've had this announcement from Donald Trump that he's going to defund the World Health Organization. He announces a lot, so we'll have to see if he goes through with that. But certainly that's not a particularly promising sign, I think, for multilateral responses.
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you think that's then going to have an impact on this resolution potentially being passed, because he's kind of gone nuclear with this WHO option, that now it's okay, you could have this discussion within the Security Council, but it seems to have gone too far?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly at the moment, the prospects for getting anything through the Security Council are really quite remote. I mean, it's hard to see the US and China coming together. Russia, we know, are also not keen on a resolution. So although some of the Europeans, and particularly France, are pushing it, the prospects of it actually being agreed don't seem that great to me.
Right. And so I suppose, who cares then? Why is it important that there should be a resolution?
Yeah, this is a really good question. And actually, I'm a bit of a skeptic about a resolution. So to some extent, I don't think we should care as much as some people do, but quite a lot of people do. There have been several statements, for example, from a group of international lawyers saying that we need a Security Council resolution. The Secretary General, as I mentioned earlier, was very keen on the idea that there should be a resolution, and he set out a whole series of reasons why. Um, I'm less certain. I'm less certain that there's actually any practical value in a Security Council resolution on this, and that it's really worth the diplomatic effort. And I suppose another potential concern is, since it doesn't look like we're going to get one, should we try so hard to get one? I mean, there may be costs of trying and failing. It may be better never to have tried at all. I mean, one of the ideas that health advocates have often had in previous examples when they've wanted a Security Council resolution is that this would be some kind of big show of global commitment to a problem and global solidarity over a problem. We saw that with the very first health resolution on AIDS back in 2000. I think there was some of that around the Ebola resolution in 2014, that this was a moment where the world could come together and say, this is a really important thing. Whereas what we're seeing at the moment is actually the Security Council being an example of the world not coming together.
Yeah.
So is it better to not try at all than to try and fail, would be one of the questions I had.
Great. Simon, thank you so much. That's absolutely perfect. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.